So the next talk is going to be very interesting because I'm actually slightly biased towards the next brand that we will introduce. Because Naked Copenhagen, in my eyes, is my go-to store for women's sneakers. I love them. We have Mark and Simon joining us on stage right now. They come all the way from Copenhagen, and they're going to be talking with Celine from Klaviyo. She's our partner manager, about how they handle customer retention at Naked Copenhagen. So, yeah, I want to welcome them on stage right now.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, perfect. Good. Thank you, Ask Phill, for inviting us again this year, and thank you for flying from Copenhagen. I heard it was really hard to get in Amsterdam this morning with the fog, so thank you. So today we're going to speak about the power of retention, how to keep customers coming back. So hopefully you enjoy the session. We have been thinking about the format of this, and we want it to be very interactive. So if you have any questions, please ask. But we're going to start with a small introduction. So I'm Celine, I'm a partner manager, and I look after the partnerships team in EMEA. And I'm here with Simon and Mark. And Mark. So I'm going to let yourself introduce yourself.
Thanks, Celine. I'm Simon. I'm the head of e-commerce in Naked Copenhagen. I've been in Naked Copenhagen in 4 years, and since I started, we have 4 times higher e-commerce turnover. So it's been a really big growth journey along with Mark.
Yeah, and I am Mark. And I've also been at Naked Copenhagen for 4 years, and has working together with Simon for some time now. So yeah, and overall, just excited to be here.
Perfect. We are going to start speaking about the power of retention. So obviously lots of interesting questions that hopefully you will have, and interesting stories from you guys. But we're going to start with a small presentation from Klaviyo. I don't know if everyone has heard about what we do. But what we like to say is that Klaviyo is an intelligent marketing and customer data platform. So when you think about Klaviyo, it's about integrations, customer data, all on Klaviyo that is delivering exceptional personalized experience for your customers. So when you think about delivering the right message at the right time to your customers, it's pretty much what we do at Klaviyo. So lots of different insights, hopefully today, that we will get from working with Naked Copenhagen, and to hear about the stories from custom platform to maybe in the next few months moving to Shopify and what it means for them. So lots of really interesting stories, hopefully. And I'm going to let you speak, but questions anytime.
Yeah. What we're going to tell about today is we are a fashion brand, and we have a custom e-commerce platform at the moment. We did an integration with Klaviyo 1.5 years ago, and at the same time we were making a new strategy around our email marketing. And we have extraordinary results by doing some quite bold moves strategy-wise. That is the topic for today. First of all, I will share a little bit about who Naked Copenhagen is. We are a female-only sneaker store. We are founded in 2004 in Copenhagen by Stine and Thomas. Back in 2004, sneakers for women actually didn't exist. That was not a thing. That was not a focus for the big brands, Nike, Adidas, New Balance. So this was very, very niche. It was a little tiny store in Copenhagen, being on the edge of making it living. And actually until around 2017, it was a very small niche business. All the time they've had an e-commerce store, but they didn't have any e-commerce experience, so it was driven very just taking a picture in the basement and trying to sell some shoes. But since then, since 2017, the growth has been really big. One of the main reasons is that sneakers for women actually is a high focus now for the big companies. Suddenly, someday, they were sitting in the strategic books and was wondering, how can we sell more? And one of the obvious things was that, okay, we could actually sell the products to women as well. And then at that time, Naked was at the right place at the right time, because Naked has for many years established a kind of sneaker community niche in Copenhagen. So the growth that we've experienced is also driven by that we actually got quite good support from the big brands, Nike, Adidas, because we have a direct talk with the community of sneakerheads in the female industry. So what we have on the shelf is the most exclusive sneakers, the most popular ones. 25% of our turnover is on products that actually has a higher resale value than the value that we sell them for. So it's very hype and exclusive products that we sell. So that also means that why we get these exclusive products, because all sneaker stores want these products, and that's because we have this female approach that we can benefit of that, but also because we try to branding-wise, and that's a quite important thing when speaking on marketing. Branding-wise, we want to have a high-tier branding because the brands should see their most exclusive products being relevant in our store. And today, we consider ourselves as the world's leading female-only sneaker store. So what we did with the newsletters was, before we went to Klaviyo, we had this strategy that we were sending like one newsletter per week with the 5-10 top stories about the new products and that we had in the range. And the reason why we did that was in order not to spam people, because we were like very protective that, okay, now we get the email permission, so now we shouldn't send a lot of emails to you. Because we were like thinking it as a newspaper, we were sending out once a week. We were sending it to everyone, so we were sending it to 500,000 per week. We were promoting products that had low sales or high stock levels. So that means that we were excluding products that we could see, like all the hype products, because we wanted only to focus on the products that we actually wanted to sell and that we wanted to give a push. So we didn't consider what do the customer actually want to receive from Naked, but we consider what do we want to sell. We were working, and that goes along with the brand protection of the Naked brand. We're working many hours on creating this weekly campaign. Like there was many people involved, graphic designers, photographers. We were like creating GIFs, so it was a very interactive email. So we were spending hours and hours, and sometimes it was even difficult to keep the deadline for the newsletter. We were struggling, and that's one of the reasons why we was considering our strategy, because we only reached we only had an open rate on 8 to 10%, and only when we were sending the email campaigns to 500,000, we only had traffic for 2,000 sessions. So we had very low engagement on the campaign. That was something coming over the years, but especially lately, we've experienced that the spam score had been like very sensitive, so we were definitely marked as spam because we had so many unengaged customers or permissions. So yeah, that was the big why we were considering the strategy, because we had a big database, but we it didn't really have an impact on our turnover. People wasn't opening, and even if we were sending very attractive offers, like get a discount code for 20%, people were not opening either. So we could easily see this is because of the spam score. And the old email system that we were using was a very simple one, so we wasn't able to do any segmentation. So even if we had any plans around changing the strategy, it was very difficult to segment who should have what. So that was the big concern, or the reason why we wanted to change. So Mark, you did a new strategy.
Yeah. I did a new strategy, like Simon said, and I like to stand up instead of sitting down, so I hope that's okay. But like Simon mentioned, we used so much time on building only one newsletter that kind of went out to all our subscribers. And the transformation was to create campaigns that were fewer focus, like on on the right side of the screen. You can see where we are only focusing on one brand or one campaign, and this focusing is going straight out to a more segmented, controlled audience, to our subscribers, and this one. Has actually, or this approach is actually also has benefited us, because it is way faster to build these newsletters, so we can actually send out more newsletters and use the time more efficient than the previous way that we did before, to create, instead of create more campaigns within one newsletter. And the good thing also with the approach that we went with is that it is not a heavy-loaded newsletter that we are sending out, which can actually cause to fall down the whole newsletter if it's too heavy for any newsletter providers out there like Gmail and Apple and so on. So that's also a huge win, that it's now able to be opened and not heavy for any newsletter subscriber. So yeah. And what we kind of went with was actually deleting over like 50% of the subscriber database that we used to have, because they were not active at all. Like Simon said, we are just sending out a bunch of newsletters, but no one is opening. So we kind of started all over, and kind of went with only people that are, engaging. A lot of people think that, but what about all of these old subscribers? Aren't they also important? Well, if they don't open any emails, then of course I would say no. And as mentioned also before, we are going with a strategy that is very, subscriber-based, which also means that we are for one day we can send more than one newsletter out, because it is differentiated due to the segments, so everyone gets a more personalized email due to what you actually like to see or what you have seen. For instance, on our website, if you are a Nike person that only looked at Nike products, then you will receive a Nike newsletter and so on. And yes, also mentioned before, less contents on each email for quick and efficient execution. So yeah.
Yeah, so you can actually say that we kind of try to go from a push strategy to like a pull. So people, what they do on the website, what they do with the emails that we send to them, actually reflects on what we do tomorrow. So what you receive tomorrow is based on the activity that you've had on the website, and so it's more like a pull that you actually ask for this, even though that you didn't like ask specifically, but by your actions, we think that you ask for receiving this.
Yeah. I really love what you just said. Like a lot of brands always think about like their subscribers being like money that they can make, but it's like kind of a mistake to just send a newsletter to everyone or like communication to everyone, and it's like it makes sense because you really want to do it. But I think your way of thinking is like totally what you should be doing. Is like who interacts with my brand on my website, social media, like on newsletters, and then just like leaving the one that don't want to hear about your brand, etc. But like one of the strategies that I see a lot of brands doing is like having the Facebook integration on Klaviyo to like push those audiences and then re-engage through Facebook, Instagram, etc. to actually try to get them to re-opt in or just like re-engage with your brand, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah. And that has also been, what Celine mentioned, been a tool that we also have used a lot, and it has benefited us a lot in terms of sending out right content to the right people.
Yeah, and to sum up all the results that we have from changing the strategy is that now we send 50% less emails per week, meaning that going from one email with 500,000 subscribers, now we're sending maybe 10, but with a total of 250,000 subscribers. But we increased the open rate by 50%. It's not increased by, actually. The open rate has been raised up to 50%. So our open rate is an average over 50%, going from 8 to 10% to over 50%, which is quite high numbers. But that is because we are working with the very segmented approach. And we can see that the clicks to website, which is super important for our sales, even though that we sent 50% less emails out, the clicks to website has grown by 200%, and the turnover has followed along. So right now, email were below, for example, social media for us. Naked brand has always gained a lot of traffic from social media. Right now, email is twice as high as social media, and that's a development happening within a year. So it's going, what can I say, email is our big growth channel now. Going from what can I say, a channel that we just had, and we're generating like 2,000 sessions per week. Now it's like the way that we can see that we can actually grow.
One of the questions I had was, we spoke last time, we had a chat about competition, like how do you actually keep people from coming back? Because there is so many options on the internet, like, you can buy a pair of sneakers in like any websites. Like how do you choose the content that you put in your email depending on the audience, and how do you segment? Like, do you have a VIP? Do you have like, how do you segment? Do you have any tips for?
Yeah, you can say like, how we differentiate from other stores is different in the email, but I think in terms of engaging with our emails, it's important that we have some KPIs. Mark has some KPIs where he looks very much on a dynamic list of a segment where he looks on how many engaged customers do I have at the moment. The last 30 days, how many engagement do I have? That's actually one of the most important KPIs for him. Because there's a lot of different approaches to get a customer, and we sell some well-established brands, some popular products. So it's super easy for us to attract customers on Google, but it's also expensive. So it's important for us that we can keep the dialogue with the customer afterwards. So getting a new customer is one thing, but it's now the topic for us is very much how can we retain a customer, because as many of you also are facing right now is that the click prices is increasing, the cost of marketing is increasing, but email is still one of the things that is kind of free. So if you have a solid strategy around it, then you can actually bring more profitability to the company, and also maybe not going and have to buy the product or buy the customer with paid marketing the next time you want them to place an order.
Thank you.
And it actually fits quite well to the short, what can I say, presentation about what is the future, because right now we are we're very eager to continue this growth. Newsletter has now become extremely profitable for us. It's much more profitable than any other channels at the moment, because there's no direct cost attached. And for example, organic social, we are facing, as you maybe also do, many of you, a lower reach. But on email, we now have a very high growing reach. So we are right now trying to see, okay, how can we change our paid marketing into what can I say, activities where we actually can get more subscribers, because now we have the base right for getting more customers, and how can we maybe buy more subscribers and get them into that kind of machine that we have right now. So that means that right now we are moving budget from CPC into paid social lead generation to our newsletter. We are collecting the lowest hanging fruits right now. So we're doing like segments where we combine the Klaviyo list and exclude all who is subscribed already, but only go for those who actually made a purchase at Naked. So we kind of make a segment with all the customers that is not on our subscriber list, and we have really good results on the paid on the price for getting a lead. Right now we are on a custom platform. That means we are not on Shopify. We are finalizing the project, and hopefully we are live in January. But that means that right now our integration to Klaviyo, it's something we built ourselves, so it's very limited. With Shopify, we can experience a lot of new features that we don't have today. So what we want in 24 is that we want a much more closer relationship between our subscriber list and all the VIP activities that we could have on the website. That means that we're going to make it much more nice to be on our newsletter. You will get pre-access to our most exclusive launches of the most hyped products. You will get pre-access to our sales, etc. Just because we can see that this is really something that we can care about, because this is the way that we can grow right now for a low marketing cost.
Very clear.
Yes.
Yeah,
Super
I
clear.
think this was.
Who has questions? Hopefully you have loads.
Hello.
I have one question over here.
I already have the box.
Oh,
Sorry,
you
I
started.
snatched it
Sorry.
very fast. All right. It all sounds very good on sending 8 to 10 segmented emails per week. But I'm curious, how do you do this from researchers' point of view? Are you able to automate some of this building of emails or building the segments? Because I think most of us will struggle with the resources of making 8 instead of 1.
Yeah, that's your struggle.
It definitely is a struggle, but the overall with the what can I say with building these campaigns is what can I say, we also have a creative team that kind of helps us with creating the content that we want to send. So that is of course a bonus, but you were asking again in terms of how we are not, what can you say,
Are you able to somehow automate the process of building the emails with Klaviyo, for example, or coming up with the segments, like what should you target? in an automated way, or is it all manual process? You build all emails on their own, or?
Yeah, it is basically building on actually manually mostly, and also like Simon mentioned before, we are on a customized platform, so we don't have a lot of tools yet to do these things. But by doing it manual, that's also the way I can kind of control the segments in terms of who I send to and who I shouldn't send to. As in Klaviyo, there's of course this feature in terms of excluding people that you have sent to before, or even do like what they call the smart sending, that it actually excluding automatically people that have seen within X amount of hours. So in that way, you can say that that's how you keep on what can I say, not keep on spamming the same people, but to hit the right ones within the right target.
But it is a balance that we are working on every day, because sometimes we see extraordinary results with a very, very specific segment, but where we see, okay, it's too small that it makes sense actually, even though that we have a crazy open rate and a good performance.
But maybe it's a bit, what can I say, hard to also kind of answer it, because I am also still in the, like Simon said, in struggling some time. But again, I also feel like if you don't test it out, then you wouldn't know how it kind of works. And I think that's still a bonus to gain in terms of doing this way.
Thank you. I was thinking if you cracked the code already or something, you can share with us.
And I was just gonna add on Klaviyo, you can also have like how do you call them? Segments on your emails that will kind of like fetch the products that they saw on your website, or like the categories that they saw, they clicked on, etc. So you have dynamic products. I was just thinking about the word. And you can also, based on like what they've seen, what they've done, you can have like exclusive or inclusive segments of images. So let's say someone has seen a product in a certain region, then you can like have your emails personalized in some ways, which kind of like automates some of it, but obviously to an extent, depending on what you want to send to what audience. We have a question over there.
How would you say design fits into this? How would you say design fits into this?
Yeah, that's when we were presenting this for the design team, they were like, oh, but it is also quite clear for the transformation slide that we were showing that the design was much better previously. We were spending much more time, but we wasn't reaching enough. So right now we are taking a decision that we are actually compromising on the level of design by being faster and being able to execute more.
I would also say that what I and Naked overall has learned from this, that okay, you want to really design it and have it look good, but it just didn't work out. And then we try and let's try to do it minimalistic, and then just keep into our core what can you say, brand identity with our own font and our logo, and it kind of what can you say, a red thread that has like just the overall brand visual identity, like our website. And apparently that has worked for us. So sometimes design can also be, what can you say,
Structured.
less is more, and structure, So.
Right. Cheers.
You say you also have campaigns running on Instagram and Facebook just to generate leads.
Yeah.
What kind of lead campaigns are those? Are there like win lead campaigns, or?
It's actually, right now it's focused mainly around people who bought on the website who is not subscribed. So it's just an awareness campaign that we have this newsletter and just awareness about what is the pros of being on the newsletter list. So that's quite basic, not super selling, but just information that people should consider to be on the list.
All right, so you have no other campaigns running just to create new leads?
Not at the moment, but it's something we just started on, and it's going to be a big topic for us in 24, because having an open rate on above 50%, meaning that, okay, with the existing list that we have right now, the potential of growing realistically is quite small. So in order to establish more growth, we need more subscribers to taking the next step. So we are going to look into that.
Thank you.
We had one here in the front.
Hi. So it sounds like from a lot of what you were coming from and where you went to give you a lot of opportunities to do what you're doing right now. And given the topic was also retention, how does that push you through to the next level? Because now to make that next big jump, where is the vision in, we now have segmentation, but are we then able to do our personalization using the information that we have from that CDP and then pushing it into then your on-site journey? And is that then part of how you're looking to move towards in your future?
What can I say? That's a big question, I think. But in terms of our next step, it's clearly that now we feel that we build a machine that's working. So right now, the goal is to get more into that machine. Also, to make even the smaller segment bigger. Because like if it's only 1% looking at this product, but today the campaign is not relevant for Mark to do, but we will work on making the database so big that it's actually relevant for him and his future team to create also the small high-performing campaigns. So right now the target is to get more into the newsletter. That is the goal.
But what we also can see, as mentioned, that we are now getting way more clicks on our newsletter. We can see, okay, now they're, what can I say, I engage again and coming back to the website. Then also, as Simon mentioned, in terms of our future, to build like a loyalty program. Okay, how can we keep these customers also from being at our platform and just overall, what can I say, the Naked Copenhagen universe. And we will do that by the loyalty program, as mentioned, to try, okay, you are actually interested in us, then now let's try to give you some benefits, and which will be through this loyalty program, where they would have some what can I say, some exclusive accesses, for instances, or like Simon mentioned, to try to, okay, we want you to stay on this newsletter and we want you to keep on clicking and visiting our platform.
Just one quick follow-up. Are you also pushing it into your search and merch? So like you're taking all of that information and then personalizing with the on-site journey?
Not at the moment. No. We have a very limited integration to Klaviyo. So right now we don't have any chance to push anything to the on-site. But that's hopefully some of the things that we can look into with Shopify.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I guess on the Klaviyo side, the CDP aspect of Klaviyo is now enabling brands to actually do these sort of things. I guess because you're in a transition period between platforms, this is probably where you don't invest like as much time, but definitely something that a lot of brands are doing at the moment with CDP on Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I know it's...
Oh.
Yeah. We're being kicked.
Can we quickly have one question over here?
Yeah, one more.
One more. Fast question.
Yes, you mentioned a lot the segments. Can you give examples of segments you have in your database?
For instance, when we started out, since we kind of shortened down our newsletter subscriber database, then we went all the way down to brand segments. So, for instance, where like Celine also mentioned that we can track people that has been on our website looking at, for instance, a Nike product, and then we will get that information to the Klaviyo, and by that I am building a brand Nike segment, and then I create a personalized Nike newsletter. So brand and even all the way down to specific products. For instance, release products where people or certain collections are looking into it.
So is that are those fixed segments, or those are variable? You change them looking at the behavior.
Yeah, I can say they are fixed, but they are also dynamic in terms of what can you say the way you. I'm looking for the English word.
The behavior from the customer.
Yeah, exactly. The behavior from the customer, if that changes or anything.
So all segments on Klaviyo are just dynamic, so it's never static, it's always dynamic. I know we're being kicked off, but we have half an hour session later today for BFCM. We have kind of like a report for European brands, and we will give you lots of insights on what people want. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.